Welcome, everybody, to the JJ and Pug Show. It is June 23rd, 2024, and we are recording from the Highland Communities Podcast Studio. Welcome and good morning.
Good morning.
You just were yawning, so I just was catching you on it, that's all.
It's been a long weekend, man.
Has it been?
I don't know. I guess so. Just a lot of travel, been out of town, coming back. And
Same thing here, dude.
fast. I hate fast trips because I feel like you spend more time in the car than you do somewhere, but you got to do them sometimes.
Yeah,
so,
and for me, it's one of those things where it is, I feel like so much more fatiguing than, if you had 3 days to relax. I don't know. I just said that. I don't even know if it's true.
I'll tell you what's crazy is my kids drove up.
Oh.
I let Lexi drive to Globe. Right?
Okay.
And then Allie drove from Globe to Show.
Wait, they opened that up? I thought that pass was closed.
So it's open certain days of the week. Like I think it's closed on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I think is when they do. They're blowing into the mountain or whatever they're doing, and making the road wider. I think. But so it was open. So I let Lexi drive my truck, and she had to get on a freeway. Right? She's 15 and a half. She's got her permit, and it's just she was scared. She was so mad. But once we got going, she was fine. The freeway just it kind of. I keep trying to tell her, I'm like, dude, the freeway is easy. Everybody's going the same direction.
Yes.
You have nobody should be cutting over on you or like coming.
They absolutely do though.
Nobody like coming out on like the road at you, right? Like they would be pulling out of a private drive. So everybody generally is going the same direction. So
question for you, because I know the answer for me. When you were learning how to drive, was there ever any aspect of driving that was scary to you?
Not really. Not that I can remember because I lived 20 miles outside of town.
Yeah.
So I had a drive. So you know what was scary was driving a stick shift on a hill.
Yes.
At a stop sign.
Yes.
With a car behind you.
Yes.
Yes. That was intimidating. That was the scary stuff.
All the things you mentioned, literally the only thing I ever worried about. Because everything else was just like, oh, you just go.
Yeah.
And I remember I was stopped at a stoplight in a standard, like a stick. Why couldn't I think of a stick? A stick transmission on Power Road at the 60. It's an over ramp, right? And overpass, excuse me. So I'm kind of on the slope. And I'd never driven a stick before, by the way, to this point. My sister, I wanted to take a car out for that night, and my sister was in town. She's like, you can take my car. I'm like, cool. Jumped in. I'm like, I kind of know how you drive a stick.
This out, right?
I've driven the tractor. Yeah, I know how to do this. Yeah. So, I jumped in that thing and took off, had a couple stalls starting off, but did great. And then when I got to that, I was like, all of my fears are coming. This is it right here. I got a line of people behind me and my sister's car. All right, let's go.
Lots of gas, pop that clutch, spin the tires.
You better believe that's exactly what happened. In fact, actually, not just that, but I used the handbrake because this is something I saw somebody use. How you pull the handbrake up and you slowly release that while you're messing with the clutch and the gas.
Oh, I've never seen that.
Dude, it totally saved
I didn't have a handbrake in my little Dodge Ram 50. You remember that? You remember those trucks, those little single cab trucks?
Yeah, dude.
That's what I learned to drive a stick on.
Man, you're lucky you had one of those. You had a truck, baby.
I did. Well, I started in that, but I don't know how we got it. But I picked it up, and then I remember I got it for my 16th birthday. That's what I was driving for a little bit, and then my grandma passes away, and with just some money left over, we were able to buy me a Toyota 4Runner.
Oh,
but it was a stick shift. It was a 5-speed Toyota 4Runner. So that's all I drove in high school was a stick shift, and I taught all my friends to drive on it because they were all. I hung out with a group that was at least a grade class younger than me, just because where we grew up at. Mm-hmm. So I taught them all to drive a stick shift in my truck or my car, and. Dude, I loved that 4Runner, man.
Dude, that's a solid car for a first.
Dude, a 93 4Runner with like 160,000 miles on it, dude.
Dude,
it
that's
was
legit,
awesome.
Man.
It was great.
I say that's a legit car for a 16-year-old dude.
Dude, it was perfect, dude.
That's living it up, man.
I wish I would have never got rid of it, just because it was so like I don't know.
It'd be considered a classic now.
I know. Yeah, now I could put a historical plate on it or something. I'm sure.
Dude, it's 30 years, 31 years old.
Yeah, dude. It was such a cool car, and you could have all your friends in it, right? And I never got stuck. You know how many trucks I pulled out of the mud in that car? Because I put it 4 low and just crawl right out. And these guys,
that's what those things were made for.
Dude, it was perfect. I could go anywhere in the forest. I used to be able to actually ride on a bike path because it was narrow. So we'd squeeze past the metal bars, and I'd ride on a bike path around the park in my truck at night.
Past the metal bars.
Yeah, they had them up so you couldn't go on the bike path.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, they had a big old path. No idea. They have a big old path around the Sholo Park, and we used to drive around that all the time.
Dude, that's some small town stuff right there,
sure.
dude.
For sure, dude. That's some small stupid stuff, dude. But
it is fun. So my wife, her first car, I might be telling the story wrong, but I feel like her first car was her dad. He had a little Nissan Frontier, and she always felt so awesome being the girl driving the truck.
Yeah,
like she just felt like I'm the coolest one around because I got this truck.
You know, these kids now, so I'm looking at buying another car for Lexi because she's going to be 16, and brother-in-law's trying to get rid of a 2008 Toyota Corolla. Right? It's good. It's got a little hood damage. She doesn't want it because it's cosmetic.
It's a car that's going to last forever, though.
Right, and that's what she didn't understand. But these, like, dude, I don't remember anybody in school having a nice car.
No.
They do now.
I will say this. I actually do remember. In fact, we were just talking about this guy the other day because when he graduated high school, it seemed like the day he graduated, he started with the fire department, right? And everyone's like, dang, who is this guy? Like, and it was one of those things like, dude, he could retire within a year.
That's crazy.
I know, and he graduated with me, right?
That's crazy.
But we were talking about him just the other day, and somebody was saying about how, like, man, I wish I had my life together like this guy because look what he did that day after graduation. I'm like, dude, that guy had a car loan our senior year.
That's crazy.
He went and got a Toyota. I think it was an T100.
Oh, yeah,
before the Tacoma. No, it was just not before the Tundra.
It was a small,
Yeah. And he got one brand new off the lot as a senior in high school, was making payments his entire senior year.
That's crazy.
And it was one of those things where his parents made him go do it to build his credit and to build his history so that by the time he was graduated high school, it's like, all right, man, you're an adult now. Go. Dude. You got this truck. Let's go.
Yeah. So I don't remember anybody having, one guy, his name was Sean Seymour, and he had a legit Chevy Chevelle. Like old school.
Oh, yeah.
Like it was loud, painted right. It was awesome, dude. Like they had that kind of nice car, but nobody had any like
brand new cars.
Right? No. Everybody's driving. Dude, one guy, dude, oh my gosh, dude, he was driving. I don't even know what kind of car it was, but it was like painted white and we called it lightning. We called it white lightning. And it had like roll bars that were like 4 feet too tall for it in the back of the truck, dude. All painted white. It was a hoopty, bro. We used to pile in the back of that thing and go places. And dude, it just, we never had anything crazy nice. But these kids now, it's like, I mean, they drive, the kids at school have Teslas. Their parents let them take the Teslas to school. I'm like, what?
Dude, I know. I think so. It's funny when you go back to that because I feel like, and I know this isn't true, but I honestly felt like I had the nicest and coolest car in all of high school.
Right.
And it's because I got my dad's 1995 F-150 with the extended cab, 4-wheel drive, in a long bed. Did not matter if somebody had a nicer car than me. I wouldn't have believed
That's what I felt. Like I had my 4Runner. It's a 93 4Runner. I got it in 2001 or 2002, so it wasn't even 10 years old yet.
Yes. For me, it was 2003 or 4.
Yeah.
This wasn't even a decade-old truck.
Dude, it's perfect. Like it had hardly any cosmetic damage. It ran. The clutch went out on it. We replaced that, but I took that thing everywhere, and it was clean looking. Oh, it was great.
Oh,
dude.
Same thing for me, dude. We had, like I said, it's extended cab with a middle console that folded up. It fit 6 people there, plus the bed of the truck. Dude, you better. And that's the truck that we took to Sholo whenever we went up to Sholo. Yeah. All of us would pile in. We'd get up there. We'd have the best time ever. Like I said, I know somebody else that probably had a nicer truck than me, but I wouldn't have believed it.
Yeah. No, I'm sure there were people that did, but I don't like. But like even Jana, she drove I don't even know what year, dude, like a 97 Oldsmobile. Oh, no, wait. She had a Pontiac Grand Am.
Oh, nice.
2-door coupe. Paint faded, white. Like it looked, dude, it was so fast. Dude. I remember going like 80, 90 miles an hour in a rainstorm, taking one of her friends home to Pinedale.
Oh, to Pinedale.
Oh, I remember being scared out of my mind, and she was just driving like a bat out of heck, dude. Just going, man. I was like, oh, can we slow down? It's raining.
Dude, would you say that when you say Pontiac? So in high school, I remember one night. It was one night only, and it was like one of the most magical nights of my life. My brother had I think it was actually his father-in-law had an old Firebird. And like a 1984 Firebird with a T-top, right?
Yes, dude.
And it was, I mean, when
Smokey
I say...
in the Bandit type car.
Dude, when I tell you that the inside of this thing was falling apart, I kid you not. If you touched some of the fabric, it would disintegrate in your hands. Ugh. You could not touch the sun visors. They would fall apart as you touched them. But, bro, when I tell you that this engine in this thing was unstoppable. I don't even remember what it was. I'm 90% sure it was a Corvette engine that they'd replaced, right? And it was like a project car that his father had been working on. His father-in-law had been building. And so my brother took it over. And I wish I knew what he did with it because, dude, that one magical night was unlike anything else. So it was a night when my band had a concert. Okay, we played in a battle of the bands. I had my friend Lindsay with us. She was going to be in the band with us for that one night only. So I still remember this. We were at the Burger King on Val Vista in Williamsville before anything was at Val Vista in Williamsville.
Is there still a Burger King there?
You know, it might be. I think it might have turned into something else. But right across the street was a gas station, which was at that time a Diamond Shamrock. I don't know what it is now.
Yeah,
okay, so we're at the Burger King talking to somebody. I don't remember what it was. I'm like, all right, Lindsay, we got to go. So we hop in this thing. She's like, can I get a ride with you? I'm like, freak yeah, you can get a ride with me. Come sit right here, dude. We get in this thing. We're driving. And this was back when Rittenhouse actually went all the way to Williamsville and turned off and went southeast towards Power Road and towards Queen Creek. Now that road's broken up in a billion pieces. But I remember being stopped at the stoplight at Higley and Williamsfield, looking to the left and seeing this guy staring down Lindsay like trying to act all cool. Bro, what's happening? None of it, man. I revved the engine because I'd never been able to do this before. I had never had a car that could be anything off the line, dude. Yeah. I revved the engine. He revs his. And I smoked him. Smoked him. And by the time I got to, it was right before the Potato Barn, which is now, I don't even know if it exists anymore. Honestly, I couldn't tell you what's on that road anymore. But it was right when the road turned and you could get onto Rittenhouse. That's where we go to Higley. By that point, I was well over 100 miles an hour. The speedometer was bouncing up and down, dude. It was freaking awesome, dude. I got to have that car for the whole night. And I'll never forget all the things I did in that car for that one night.
Some dumb stuff, I'm sure.
I did some dumb stuff, man, but it was one night, dude.
Yeah, it's fine. We all did dumb stuff.
Dude, and the best part about it, my brother was so cool to me about it. He's like, hey, we'll take this tonight. I'm like, you serious? You can let me drive the Firebird? He's like, yeah, take it. I was like, oh baby, this is going to be awesome. It was just the greatest, man. I'm sure we all had those memories of those nights where that one thing just made everything magical. This is my high school movie night. You know what I mean? This is that one movie that if I were to make a movie about high school, for me, it would be the night of the Firebird.
Dude, I had too many. I had so much fun growing up in a small town. Looking back, at the time I felt like, you wanted to get out. But it was so much fun. We did some crazy things that I don't know. I mean, I'm sure things happen down here, but not today. Not in today's world, but in our world back then.
It's just different.
It's just different, right? But you grew up in a small town, and you got to make fun out of it. Because, I mean, you got to either go out into the woods and do something, or you got to drive around. You cruise the Deuce and Sholo.
Deuce clubs.
Dude, but it's crazy. Now, I don't know what the kids do. I think they're probably all stuck inside. Most of them playing games or doing something. Because, dude, at 9:30 at night, Sholo is dead, bro.
It is.
It is a ghost town on the Deuce. Dude, I'm like, come on.
You know what's funny? Because for us, so when I grew up, Higley doesn't exist anymore. But it was a small town. We didn't. It grew into something. Right. You got enveloped by Gilbert. Gilbert, kind of swallowed it whole. But it was small back then, and Higley was a small school. So we felt like we were small town people next to the big city, kind of in the big city. It was a weird way to describe it. But whenever we'd go to Sholo, we were always wondering, what are people doing? What are we doing? Let's go find something. And we could never find anything, but it's also one of those things where it was a small town, so if you didn't know where people were hanging out, you didn't know what to do.
Dude, they used to go ice blocking at the golf courses. You'd get ice blocks and put trash bags down and slide down them, right? You just doing whatever you could to keep yourself busy, dude. It was just
we tried doing that at Freestone Park up there in Gilbert, and they shut that down quick, man. They started having people patrolling Freestone to make sure they weren't ice blocking because it was killing the grass.
See, they're just killing our fun, sucking the fun out of everything. It's like these people now, in these neighborhoods, the one that call the cops on the kids riding dirt bikes around. I'm like, you know any other things they could be doing?
Yes.
Who cares? You live in a small enough town of where we live that you can have kids riding around. You've been in my neighborhood, that big open field just west of my house.
Yeah.
They let the kids go build a dirt bike track for all I care. Dude, the same lady calls the cops on them every time. And I remember talking to MCSO about it one time, and they were like, do we have to come out here because they've called? And
MCSO is Maricopa County Sheriff's Office.
Yes, so now it's patrolled by Queen Creek PD. We have our own PD now, which is interesting enough. But they would come out and be like, we have to show up, but we know I'm like, why? These kids aren't doing anything wrong. They ride through my neighborhood all the time with their dirt bikes and their helmets on. And I'm like, you're cool. I've only had one conversation with a kid, and it's because he drives a little go-kart. And he freaking flies around the neighborhood, and you can't see him.
And he's going to kill himself.
Well, because he's so low to the ground that when you're backing out of your neighborhood and you've got cars parked on the street, you can't see him until it's almost too late.
Yeah.
He got hit by a car.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he survived, but it wasn't this person's fault. He was not slowing down, and she didn't see him, and she pulled right out of a stop sign, and he was just screaming down the road, and he hit her, and it happened to be on camera because my buddy's house is right there. And it was like, dude, she didn't do anything wrong. It wasn't her fault. But this kid just...
That's a prime example of it's what I tell people all the time when it comes to motorcycles. Bro, you can be as careful as you want. You run into a car, you're done.
You're a lawn dart.
Yeah, exactly. It's terrible. But
it's true.
But you're right when it goes all the way back to the kids riding the dirt bikes. I got kids that do that all the time out in front of us. And my thing is think about all the millions of other things that could be doing that. We'd be way worse than this.
Way worse. Just let them have fun. If they're not causing any problem, they're riding up and down. They're you see all these kids all over Gilbert right now, especially in Higley and Queen Creek. They're on the sidewalk on these electric dirt bikes. What's the difference?
Yeah. The soundless.
The sound does it?
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, I got to ride a soundless dirt bike.
Yeah.
bro.
Don't out him.
Oh, his dirt bike is legit.
Do I need to go back and like beep his name? I'm going to.
I don't know.
I'm definitely going to.
Why?
I want to mark that. Where are we at?
Why you can't say his name?
Yeah, I don't want to out him.
Okay,
I don't want to out him,
dude.
I mean, the chances that he gets actually.
He doesn't even have social media. He didn't listen to any of this.
I know.
Okay,
I'm going to pause this real quick. All right, so we discussed that offline. We're good. The name will be bleeped, and you'll have heard it already.
And that's fine. But this bike, so it's a Varg, I think it's called. It's an electric dirt bike, and it's got the power of a 450, which is
huge.
It's actually got more because it's got levels on it, right? So level 1's like 40 horsepower, level 2's 50 horsepower, level 3 60, 70, and then 80.
Oh my gosh, dude, that's so awesome.
That is okay. So putting it at level 2, Carl, right?
Crazy
Carl. Even he was like, nope. He hit a jump. He hit a jump on it and overshot the landing by 20 feet.
Oh my gosh!
The chain popped off.
Oh jeez.
But dude, this bike is so much fun to ride. Like I was like, okay, I'll ride around the vet track, not on the around, literally on the outside. And as soon as I got on it, I was like, screw this, dude. It was so much fun riding this dirt bike.
Instant acceleration.
And people, you can't. Dude, they would pass me on it. I'll be riding. All of a sudden, you just hear the chain, go. It's like zippy almost. It's funny, but the technology now is out of control with these electric bikes. It is so cool.
My buddy was telling me about how these kids near his mom's neighborhood all have electric bikes, and they have a dirt bike track in their backyard. And he's like, and it's the weirdest thing just to watch. No sound, just watch boom, kids popping just up in the air, just boom.
And
just
they
popping
do
up
these
in
little those like half dirt bike, half mountain bike looking things that they have. They're like dirt bike tires, but like a small bike frame. Yeah, no, this is a legit, like it's a full size dirt bike, and it is so cool, dude.
Dude, that's awesome, man. I gotta say, electric bikes are freaking dope.
Like it's weird, like everybody on the track, like when they'd see it go by, like they had people like teaching out there, right? And Carl would go by and everybody stops is like, because it's dead quiet when he's going around, and you're just like, no way, there's one of them. And dude, so it was really cool.
That reminds me of a skit from I wish I could never been able to find the skit before, but I know it was a thing in the 2010s. And it was about how this group of gangsters had bought up a bunch of Priuses. Have you heard of this?
No.
Have you heard? Okay. So they buy the Prius. They're like, man, why are you buying a Prius? And he's like, dude, these things are so quiet. You can sneak up on anybody and they hear nothing.
I'm sure.
Yeah, it's like, and then it shows one guy pulling up behind somebody else and he didn't even hear it happening. I wish I could find it. It's on YouTube somewhere because YouTube's freaking amazing for crap like that.
You ride that bike on a street, all you hear is the nubs on the road. You don't hear anything else. You can hear the nubs if you had street tires, it would be quiet as a Tesla, dude, just going down the road on a dirt bike.
That's so nuts, man.
And the battery lasted a while. Like I think he charged it. So we took a Rivian out there. And we had an electric bike on the bike. And we pulled we had four bikes total.
Here's a question. How was a Rivian?
It was cool, actually. So here's where, I don't know, the charge, everything seemed fine. Like, we didn't have to charge. We went to Motoland out in Casa Grande and came back. We didn't have to charge. We pulled 3 bikes and had a bike in the back of the truck. So we had 4 bikes.
The truck towed all that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
totally
wow.
fine. So he left the air conditioner on for half the time, not knowing it, and it was still fine. Where I think they separate themselves just is the interior is better. Tesla cheaped the interior, and I don't know why they didn't put a little bit more thought into the wood grain. Or
I would say it's because they're trying to sell a car for $40,000 while Rivian's like, hey, it's $100,000.
True. But Tesla still sold it for $60,000-$70,000 at one point. Their Model Y, right now it's down to $40,000. But so that's where they definitely got them on. But it's very comparable. But it was crazy pulling something, when you're in an electric truck, and I'm watching his range the whole time because I'm curious, right?
Yeah, that was the thing that I was thinking of, because that's the one thing about the Ford Lightning. Well, it's not the one thing. There's a few things, but one of the things about the Ford Lightning that's an absolute joke is you buy this truck, and the minute you do truck things with it, it's useless.
Yeah, it's not a truck at all.
Yeah, you can't tow anything because your range goes from 320 if you buy the extended range to 100. So it's how do you even make it to the next charging station?
You've been to Bulldog Canyon out up by the river?
No.
It's like a trail back there. I figured Carl's been, so you must have been at some point with it. He goes out there all the time. But
no, I don't remember.
It's an off-road trail, like an ATV trail. He took his Rivian out there and was rock climbing with it, and it's got all the modes and stuff.
Yeah.
Because he had paid for the extra bottom skid plate to be fully carbon fiber tight. I don't know whatever it is. Whatever it is, but he paid for that so that we could do it. And I'll tell you, we were going over the bumps. This is a dirt road to Motoland once you get off the freeway. And it's rough, washboarded. dude, it rode so smooth.
Dude,
I was impressed by the truck being a truck, right? Like you were doing truck things with an electric truck, and it was. I mean, we didn't. Like I said, we got there with I don't know. We probably had like at least 30% left on the battery.
See, that's because one of the things about Rivian that they market like crazy is that this is a truck to do truck stuff with. Like, I mean, it's got like the outdoor kitchen that stows back behind the back seat. You see that area that they have that's wide open.
Thing, yeah,
and it's a
tunnel.
It's a full freaking kitchen that you can insert in there and take it camping. Like so. I remember when they first started doing it, I'd be like, man, that'd be awesome. If this truly is a truck that can do truck stuff.
It was pretty cool. And he had an air compressor built into it. So we had, we were able to pump the tires up. And I think they were charging the bike in between rides with it too. So we were using it. Cool. But yeah, it was, it's got the little things, like it's got air conditioned seats, right? Like the Tesla doesn't have it. It has heated seats, but not air conditioned.
Dude, air conditioned seats have changed my life.
Yeah, like I don't know how do you have leather and not have air conditioned seats?
Yes, dude. Or if nothing else, like listen, okay, maybe it doesn't have to be air conditioned. At least have some airflow.
Something, but
airflow.
You put heated seats in. Why would you not just do it air conditioned? It's got to be just a flip of a switch to go the other way. Like it can't be that much more. So I don't know. Like I was relatively impressed. I've talked. The charging time is always a thing with Tesla that makes it better, right? You go to a supercharger. Dude, the time it takes you to go inside, go to the bathroom, get a snack, come out with your family, your car's charged enough to go to the next location. I don't know that Rivian's that way, but I know they can charge on Tesla networks, I believe now, with the adapters. So I don't know how, but again, I don't know how much power they can take. I don't know how many amps or whatever, watts or whatever they can take at one time to make the charge range go faster. I don't know, but it was still really cool to do truck things with an electric truck for sure.
I say that's actually something I really want to. I'd like to talk to somebody, specifically the guy whose name's been moved out, because
Voldemort.
I want.
We'll call him Voldemort.
Yeah, he who must not be named.
Yeah,
I want to talk to him. Just ask him like, okay, so give me like honest feedback, because obviously I can find stuff online, but I want to know somebody that I know that has one.
And dude, that guy is such a mild mannered, just chill,
nicest dude in the world.
Nicest dude in the world, dude. He's just so like. It is funny when we're on the track together and we're next to each other and we're hitting these jumps, and he's like, "Whoa!" Like you can hear him making noise and stuff. Like
I can't even imagine him making noise.
Dude, it was funny. He caught me off guard the first time because we hit this little double exactly together, and I'm like, "What is?" Because you can't hear his bike, but you can hear him screaming.
That is the funniest thing to think about.
It's nuts, man.
Okay, so you just said Voldemort, so that actually reminded me. I want to have this conversation, and maybe you're not prepared for it because it just hit me. I was watching Harry Potter with my kids today.
I've seen them all.
Okay, you've seen them all, but you never read the books, right? That was Janet's thing.
No, that's Janet.
Okay,
I don't read.
But if you recall, because this has always bothered me, and today it really hit me. And if we have to talk about this another time, we can talk about it another time. But it's in Harry Potter, the fifth one, the Order of the Phoenix.
Okay.
And it's when all the boys and girls are starting to kind of pair off and like, okay, I got a crush on him. He's got a crush on her.
This isn't the one with the dance. That's Goblet of Fire.
Goblet of Fire is the one with the dance. Yeah.
Is the dance.
So this is the one right after that.
Okay.
So they're definitely older teenagers, okay? But there's a point where Harry and Ron, this also happens in Goblet of Fire, so it works then too, okay? Where Harry and Ron are having like this little spat on who's got each other's back, right? And I remember the whole time watching them like, guys don't fight like this. Like, this isn't the way guys fight. And there's specific parts in it where Hermione will like have this reaction of like, boys are so weird. And I'm like, yeah, it's because this is what girls do.
Yeah,
guys don't do this.
Girls get in the way of guys all the time.
No. But what I'm saying is like, okay,
that's
specifically,
how they did it. Yeah, tell me what you mean.
Let's go Goblet of Fire, right?
Okay.
So Ron is mad at Harry because Harry's name got drawn for the Goblet of Fire, right?
Right. He's jealous.
He's jealous of him, and so in the jealousy, Colt stones him out. Stonewall, not talking to him anymore.
Totally chick thing.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
totally.
Because what's going to happen?
Yeah.
In reality, Ron's either going to come out with it, he's going to be stoked for his buddy, or he's going to punch him in the face.
They're going to fight about it, and then they'll be friends.
And then they'll figure it out, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to go on for months and weeks of this weird tension of we're not friends anymore, but we're still friends. Are we friends? And then it culminates in the dragon thing, right? Where when Ron tells somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody
tell Harry
that Hagrid needs Harry.
Yeah.
And it's like, nope, that would literally never happen.
But the book is written by a female, so it's all for female perspective.
Yes. And that was my point. As I'm watching this, I'm like, how did the directors, because these movies don't have to match the book 100%. How did the directors, which were all guys, okay, not say, listen, Miss Rowling, this does not compute. This, I mean, I know we're talking about a fantastical world of magic and wizards, but this is the most unrealistic thing in your book.
Yeah, but they probably were like, yeah, but she sold so much by that premise, right? Like,
I guess.
And I would argue, and I don't know this factually, but I wonder if you're talking about how, like, the people that have read it, is it female heavy to male, or is it even, or is it the other way?
That's a good question.
You know what I mean? That's what I would want to know, because because you got to figure the movies would be paired to that, probably that portion. You got to kind of know that. Yeah. So maybe that had something to do with it. Because I'll tell you right now, I guarantee you, any female has not thought about that at all, because it's not to them. That's fighting. That's what happens when you're mad, right?
And I would love for a female to come on here and tell me I'm wrong.
And you could be.
But I can tell you from my experience as a young man who grew up with friends who sometimes we got jealous of each other.
Yeah.
That we did not react that way ever. And I never saw a group of guys react that way.
No.
And I've never heard another group of guys tell me, oh, yeah, that was common. But never once.
It's sad, but like, I know it's happened, but I don't remember being jealous of somebody so bad that I would do something like that. Like,
I can tell you this. Like, I can tell you many a times when a girl got in between guys.
Oh, yeah, that's a different thing.
Yeah.
Total different story, dude. Women have been destroying men's friendships for years, dude.
But the way that they fought was not like that ever.
It was fist to face.
Yeah, exactly. It was out in the open.
Yeah.
It was very obvious. There were no there was no like backbiting and secrets behind. It was no, bro.
We've been fighting over girls since the medieval times, bro.
Dude, I mean, how many wars have been started over women?
Right?
I mean, that is the man's existence. But it's funny because I don't remember who I was having this conversation with, but I just got done. I've been in this mode of watching lots of National Geographic documentaries on specific portions of the world. Like right now I'm watching Wild Portugal. I had no idea Portugal had so much natural wildlife to be talked about, right? It's pretty cool. But if there's one thing that is consistent amongst all the animal kingdom, us included, the number one most important thing in every single male's existence is procreation.
Yes.
I mean, it's funny how often these shows are talking about, and this is how the male attracts the female. And it's just, they'll do like a 5-minute segment on what they're doing.
Weird.
It's
science.
Weird. Right. But it's
so strange.
It is how we are wired. I mean, in every species, it's how we are wired.
That's part of life. Like procreating is part of the whole thing.
Constantly fighting for
everything.
Yeah,
everything.
Fighting for that right to be the one.
To be the king, to be the lion, bro. To be king of the jungle, man.
Yeah,
in every aspect, dude.
Yes, 100%. All right, well, we're going to take a real quick break here and listen to this awesome new ad. Thank you for taking a break real quick here in the middle of the episode of JJ and Pug Show you are currently listening to, whichever day that may be. We wanted to say thank you again for taking the time to listen to our show, listen to our antics, listen to our takes, and listen to these sometimes ridiculous opinions we come up with, which are 100% organic and truthful and true to ourselves. Having said all of that, you know what you need to do. You need to share this podcast with your friends. Send it to them. Let them know that you're listening. Let them know what you like about it. And most importantly, reach out to us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to give us that feedback and let us know the things that you would like for us to talk about. That way we can give you, our fans, the things that you both want and need and improve our show positively each and every single episode. The second thing that you need to do is reach out to us and buy a shirt. Show everyone your support of the JJ and Pug Show by wearing that awesome shirt that we had designed with our amazing logo on there. And that way all your friends will know what the best show to listen to when they got some time to put the headset in and listen to some awesome fun stuff. Again, thank you for everybody for all the support. We're going to get back to the show right about now. All right, buy a shirt, everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
All that says.
That's really...
At the end of the day, that's what that's about.
Most important thing is to buy those shirts. All right. So, after having a little break there, it was a perfect timing for us to be able to discuss what we want to talk about next, and that is Trevor Lawrence getting a 5-year, $75 million contract extension with $200 million of it guaranteed.
You know, and he has been good, but he has not been great.
He has been, and I sent this to you, and it reminded me now, he has been the exact same guy as the guy that they first selected out of UCF. Do you remember that guy's name? Took him to, I think it was the AFC Championship.
When they played, are you talking about old time, long time?
No, not Mark Brunell.
Oh, yeah, that's who I was thinking.
Not going back to that guy.
Are you going that far?
This was, I want to say, it was against the Patriots when the Patriots won their last Super Bowl.
I have no idea.
And I cannot remember if I sent it to you on Instagram or Facebook, and that's one of the things that sucks about having so many different forums to discuss things with, is because you never remember where that source actually was. Okay, so more hints, if I can give to you. He was cut almost immediately after they got to the AFC Championship game against the Patriots. Went on to become the backup quarterback for the Rams. His initials are BB.
Blake Bortles?
Blake Bortles. Yeah, good pull, man.
There we go.
Good job.
Took me a minute, yeah.
All right, so this is according to CBS Sports, okay? Their first 50 career starts, okay? Trevor Lawrence and Blake Bortles. Trevor Lawrence numbers are going to be first, Blake Bortles second. 11,770 pass yards for Trevor Lawrence. 11,845 passing yards for Blake Bortles.
So more.
58 touchdowns and 39 interceptions for Trevor Lawrence, which is a really bad ratio, by the way. Okay. To 74 touchdowns and 53 interceptions for Blake Bortles. Probably about the same ratio.
Yeah, it's not that much better.
But 74 touchdowns to 58. Okay. Oh, in fact, here we go. Next down. Passing touchdowns to interception rate. Blake Bortles is slightly better. So Trevor Lawrence is 1.5 touchdowns to every interception, while Blake Bortles is 1.4. And the yards per attempt, the only thing that Trevor Lawrence is better at is 6.7 yards per attempt versus 6.5. They don't have the win-loss records on there, so that's something to consider. But
what's the completion percentage?
Didn't have it on the stat box that I was looking at.
So I'm looking at stats for, like, right now in the league, you've got other guys, right, that are his type player, right? You've got, what I have is Gardner Minshew, who's the Colts, I believe, right now is starting for the Colts, and Mac Jones, who's no longer with the Patriots.
But the backup to Trevor Lawrence.
Right? If you look at them, they've all played, so Lawrence has played 50 games, Minshew's 49, Mac Jones 42.
So essentially the same.
Roughly the same, right? Completion percentages, Mac Jones is actually at 66%. Trevor Lawrence is 63, and then 62 for Gardner Minshew. But you start looking, dude, like Gardner Minshew's got 59 touchdowns and 24 interceptions.
That's an amazing ratio.
46 and 36 for Mac Jones, and then you have your boy. You start looking at this, and you're like, wait, he's
the same guy.
Like, he's not much. They've all been selected to a Pro Bowl, so they all have those. Like, they're all. I mean, Trevor Lawrence has 11 TDs rushed versus 5 and 1 for the other two, right? So I guess has significantly about 300 more rushing yards than Gardner Minshew.
That's the one thing I remember from him in college. It was like, dude, this guy can
he's
run.
A runner. Yeah, he's not afraid to use his legs, which makes him a threat. But when you look at him, comparing, I mean, you're not even talking 2,000 yards difference in passing. Like, you're under, you're at 1,500, 1,400 difference in passing yards, and Gardner Minshew didn't have
accolades.
Anybody. Like, nobody around.
Nobody was talking about Gardner Minshew.
No, Trevor Lawrence has got ETN coming out the back, right? And he had Christian Kirk last year playing wide out, right? So he's had some people to get, to take them stress off of him. Gardner Minshew, he got nobody.
And he's a journeyman.
Yeah.
Like, he's been all over the place.
He's the next Ryan Fitzpatrick, bro.
Yes. Oh, what a great comp.
Oh, yeah,
what
absolutely.
A great comp.
Like, yeah, good for him. He's doing well.
Good pull by you, dude.
Good. See, I know my sports. When we're on the same page, I know my sports, dude. Some of the stuff I just don't care about as much as you. I get that, all right?
Say, hey, you know what? Same
fine.
With you.
Yeah. If I could talk about golf right now, I would, Eric.
And I would fall asleep. I would just pass out.
So comparably, when you talk about, but I don't know what these other guys' contracts are, but when you talk about, like, you're guaranteeing him $200 million, and he's
those guys.
Has he even got him to the playoffs? Like, I mean, did they get to the playoffs?
I want to say that they went one time, and they did not go deep, but I remember they won the absolutely putrid AFC South. That is like a hot potato. Who's going to have to win it this year? Last year it was the Texans, who are a very surprising team, right?
Dude, I'm so scared. They're gonna and they picked up. Who did they pick up? That big player they picked up.
They went and got Stephon Diggs. Yeah. They went and got Stephon Diggs. Man.
You know what I would love to see, because it's Texas, is a Dallas Texans Super Bowl.
You know what? I hate the Cowboys, excuse me. But I would say that would be the biggest sporting event in country history.
History, bro. It would be insane. Where's the Super Bowl at next year?
They would have to relocate the Super Bowl. It would have to be relocated to Austin, Texas, and it would have to be played in University of Texas Stadium that holds 92,000 people.
Dude, is that where George Strait just broke the record, by the way? Did you see?
I did not see that.
So George Strait just broke the concert record, 110,000 people at a concert.
Crap.
And it's like, that beats Taylor Swift, all these other people. But it was I believe it was a high school stadium, bro. Like,
really?
It was big Texas high school. I think it might have been, bro.
Because I think that high school stadium has a 60,000 seating capacity for a football game.
Yeah.
Then you can load people up on the actual field.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I'm pretty sure it was in Allen, Texas. I'm not 100%, so don't fact check me. But it was. It's 110,000 people showed up to the concert for him there.
That's freaking nuts, dude. That right there, that is college football level stuff.
But that's what I'm saying. So like, can you imagine a Texans and Cowboys freaking Super Bowl? It would be out of control. You'd have to almost have it. Well, I don't know. How many people can you fit in AT&T Stadium?
I want to say isn't it like a maximum capacity in the 70s?
I thought it was, but I'm wondering if they would put more.
Yes, standing only. They definitely do.
Well, they have standing only already. Like that's part of like.
But the problem is they can't be doing it at AT&T.
Well,
the Super Bowl the Super Bowl has to be a quote unquote neutral field. It has to be. That's the way they do the Super Bowl.
That doesn't. No, that didn't happen.
It's always been that way.
No, it's not. The location's already picked. If you happen to be the team that wins.
But that's what I'm saying. So it's already been picked. So,
yeah.
So how often?
So you can't do.
I remember when it was at Arizona Cardinal Stadium not too long ago. It was like the whole talk like
last year,
because the year before the Rams won in SoFi.
Yeah.
And then the year before that, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won in Tampa.
Yeah, with Tom Brady.
So like, oh my gosh, this could be amazing. What if the Cardinals were able to keep that going? It's like
negative.
We did not do that. For you who did not know, we didn't do that. That did not happen.
But they would have to relocate wherever it is. You couldn't do it at like a regular stadium for sure. You would have to. Like, I didn't know about that college stadium being a 90,000.
Oh, DK. Okay. So this is where it was. Okay, the U.S. record was 110,905 people in. And guess at Kyle Field, Texas A&M.
Yeah,
Texas A&M University. They have 110,905 people on June 15th, 2024.
That's insane.
Whoa.
The king of country. He's the king, bro, for a reason, and that just proves it right there.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift's, she'll always be a queen, bro. That's it.
It was AT&T Stadium, right?
Yeah.
So I'm looking it up right now. I just want to see.
I know it's not. I want to say like 70.
It's 80.
Most.
It's 80,000. So that's actually a ton for a pro football stadium. That's a ton.
But you know what the ticket price would be on that, dude? Oh my gosh, dude.
Unbelievable. So I'm actually checking out the highest seating capacity for all football stadiums and you'll be shocked to know most all of them are college football stadiums.
That doesn't. I mean, it not really, because when you think about the magnitude of how much college, I know you don't watch much college football anymore. But
I still do watch a ton of it. It's just, when I talked about it before, am I ever going to love it again? It's because all the things I loved about it are going away. Like, dude, regional rivalries is like one of the most important parts about college football. It's like, okay, we here in Arizona, we're competing against California. We're competing against Utah. We still are competing against Utah because they're going to the Big 12 with us. But, dude, California, USC and UCLA in the Big 10 conference?
I know. All that stuff's changed, but that's just change. That's evolution. They kind of got to do what they got to do.
But that's the thing that kills me about it. It's because that's the part of college football that's constantly changing. I'm like, yes, the transfer portal hurts.
Yeah,
that one hurts because you never know who's on your team anymore.
Yeah. Well, in that one, there's no, like you said, we talked about this before, but there's no
it's the wild freaking West.
You don't care anymore. Like, there's no buy into the team because if I'm not playing enough, or if I'm out. We're not doing good enough. I'm out.
Yeah, and then obviously NIL with the money that's in NIL, like you. Poor guys like Kenny Dillingham at ASU, he stands no chance to actually really compete because the money that other players are getting from other colleges to leave his once he's actually turned these guys into a player, to leave his program and go somewhere else is astronomical.
Yeah,
and so that's the part about it that I don't like. I still watch it. Bro, you better believe on July 25th, when College Football 25 comes out on Xbox, I'm going to be right there, baby.
I might be buying an Xbox X or whatever you're calling.
Hey, dude, and we'll talk about our league. We'll get people in the league. Bro, back in the day, I remember we had 16 guys that we were all playing Xbox Live. We all had our own team, and we were all competing against each other for the same freaking recruits. We would go to each other's houses and play these games.
And your dynasty stuff.
Dude, it was so freaking fun, man. Walker, if you're listening, you better believe I'm coming for you, dog. For doing this, dude.
Oh, that would be fun.
It was a lot of fun.
I hope it's cool. I hope the game is just out of control cool. But
it also caused some of the most ridiculous arguments and fights of all time. Words. For some reason, I was better at that game than just about everybody, but Walker could beat me every freaking time. He just had my number. I don't know how he got it. He just would get in my head, dude. He freaking got me, man. All right, so when you look up, this is what's crazy, dude. Looking up the largest stadiums in the world for seating capacity, number 2 largest stadium in the world is the Michigan Stadium for the University of Michigan football.
Really?
Number 2 in the entire freaking world.
Dude, their facility's out of control.
One of these, Rungradu 1st of May Stadium in North Korea. I don't know
what do they do there,
bro. It sits empty because it's North Korea. Okay, that's what it does. Number 2, Michigan Stadium. Number 3, the Melbourne Cricket Grounds in Australia. And we have 7 of the top 10 of the world, and both of them are college venues. Number 7 on that list is the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California.
So even bigger than what we just talked about with AT&T. Well, I guess you can't, not AT&T, with Texas A&M, but you don't put people on the field, so that's why you lose all that. That's 100 by, what's the square footage there, dude? Like 50 by 100?
Yeah.
You're losing that much. I mean, the math tells me it's like 5,000.
I'm not sure that I totally believe this either. This doesn't sound like something I believe, because I know that because, I mean, shoot, University of Tennessee, theirs is over 100,000 seating capacity.
I have no idea.
I know. There's actually quite a few college stadiums that have over 100,000 people that can sit there.
That's insane.
It really is pretty
crazy.
Okay,
so back to Trevor Lawrence. He's getting way...
Hey, good on you, bro. Way to bring us all the way back. I have no idea how we got there.
He's getting a lot of money for really just being Gardner Minshew.
For being a replacement level quarterback.
And I'll be honest, when he was at Clemson, I'm a Trevor Lawrence fan.
100%
like I liked the way he played. Yep. I was a big Dabo Swinney fan. Like I wanted Clemson to win when they played. I liked what they stood for. I liked the way they played. But I'm like, bro, but he also went to the Jaguars, who were terrible, and he's made them better. But you're giving him Here's the thing. He gets hurt first game, never plays again. Let's say he gets what's that quarterback that Lawrence Taylor hit? The Redskins quarterback.
Yeah. What's his name? He broke his leg.
Tib and Fib. What's his name?
Dude, how come we can't remember this guy?
Oh my gosh, dude, the Redskins player.
I'll always remember Lawrence Taylor standing up
and knowing right away.
Like immediately motioning, come over to him.
Theismann.
Joe Theismann.
Yes. So
it's funny. I always remember, like, you'll never forget this name because his thigh was destroyed. Joe Theismann.
There you go. That's a good way to remember it too. But yeah, dude. So he gets one of those, right? First, second game of the year. Heaven forbid. You're still going to pay him $200 million. How does that even work,
dude?
And bro, how do you get that kind of money over? Like, I don't understand. Like, how does it just show up? Like, what? I want to know the financial part of it. Like, I get the number; it's insane, but you're talking $200 million guaranteed. So when does he get the $200 million? When he signs, and you just put it in his account, or is it longevity? Hey, yeah, you get $200 million guaranteed, but it's over the next 40 years. Your family's never going to worry about money, but we're going to give it to you in installments every year. How does that work?
And see, and those are contract details that I don't know. Most of the time, the way these work is the owner has to have the cash to be put into an escrow account. So if they say $200 million guaranteed, it's going into an escrow account. Now, how the payout is after that, I have no idea. But that money is supposed to be guaranteed.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how do you guarantee $200 million?
But dude, that's the thing about contracts in the NFL. I mean, believe it or not, this is the most owner-friendly league in the world when it comes to contracts. Because in baseball, when they signed Shohei Ohtani to a 10-year, $700 million deal, guess what? He's guaranteed $700 million if he doesn't play another at-bat. If he doesn't play another minute, he's getting $700 million.
But his is after 10 years, though, right? Like, he's got a weird thing.
He's got a 10-year deferral so that they actually only pay him $2 million a year. But
until he hits 10 years.
Yeah, but he signed for $700 million. They are paying him $700 million.
But how? Wow, how do you get that? This is going to go way off topic because it's finances, bro. But that's what I don't understand is, and maybe it's because I've never had that kind of money, dude. But like, you win the Powerball, like, right when it gets to $1 billion, you take the lump sum after taxes. You're looking at $650,000 for easy math.
Million.
$650 million.
Yeah.
Really, who do you call? Like, hey, I just got a little bit of money. Like, I need to know what to do with it, right? Because everybody's going to be in it for themselves. You can't really call somebody that's going to be like, oh, yeah, I know. I'm going to look out for you. No, you're not.
No, dude. And that's why one of those reasons when the guys win the money, you don't hear anything announced for like a month Because that person immediately called a lawyer and said, I need to set up a trust.
Well, you set up a trust and you do all that. But again, like I feel like when you get that kind of money, like part of you winning the lottery ticket and you walking in there and showing them, there's like, hey, here's Donald Trump's finance guy. Or, like somebody, here's Bill Gates' finance guy. Here's who you call because what do you do with $650 million?
This is what you do. Instead of buying great value anymore, you buy name brand. Like I said, if I ever win the lottery,
there will be signs.
So but I do know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about because you got to call.
Do you know what my tax guy said? My tax guy said he goes. First off, you put it in your bank. I said, but they only insure so much. He goes, it's America. They're not going to lose your money. Like, it's just not going to happen. And he goes, second, he goes, you give it away. And I was like, what? And he goes, you're never going to spend it. You take what you want to give your kids. You put everything aside so they'll never have to work again. Let's say you give them each. I got 3 kids. You give them each $300 million or each $100 million in their own little account.
Yeah, that sits off and collects interest.
Right, and then you take $200 million or $100 million yourself, right? Because you're not going to spend $100 million in your lifetime. And I mean, you could, but it'd be really if you live decent, you're never going to. And he goes, the rest, you give it away. And I said, yeah, but then if I give it away, like, Eric, hey, here's $10 million, but you're going to get taxed on it. He goes, so what?
Yeah.
Then he's going to walk away with $7.5 million.
I'll take it.
Yeah. He's like,
complain.
He's not going to care. And I'm like, I guess that's a good point. When you talk about giving tax, they will take the tax. So you start giving it away to people. And I'm like, okay, but I give 10 people $10 million. Bro, I still have $200 million left. Like,
have you ever heard of the movie Brewster's Millions?
No.
Oh, dude, that's a fantastic concept. It's a movie about a guy who's dying, and he's got millions of dollars, but he has one sole guy he wants to give it to. And the whole concept of it is he tells him, listen, I'm going to give you X amount of money. I don't remember what it was. It's probably like $1 million. And you have one day to spend it all. But that one day, you cannot spend it on anything that you can have tomorrow. It has to be spent and gone. There is no
You have to take delivery today.
Exactly. But there's no investment. It can't be, I bought a car to have tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's like you have to get to the point where if you aren't able to spend this money in this time, you get nothing. So by the end of it, he wanted him to hate money so that it wouldn't ruin him. Right? It's a movie. It's a concept. I've never seen it.
Is it a good, bad movie?
I've never seen the movie.
Oh.
My brother tells me about it all the time. It's with Richard Pryor from like the 80s.
Oh.
Okay. Speaking of which, he actually just called me, so I got to put pause on this real quick because he didn't call me unless he actually needs me. So hang on one second, y'all. All right, we just missed it. No big deal. It was just the Elon Musk rocket launch, SpaceX shooting the chemtrails over all of us to control our minds.
I've never even gone outside to see him.
They're pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't ever hear about it. Nobody ever texts me, and then by the time I hear about it, it's too late.
Yeah, and that was unfortunate. All we could see was the trail. We couldn't actually see the rocket, which, too bad. Wanted to get my kids to see it. They always get excited when they see it. But back to Trevor Lawrence. Here's a couple things. I know that statistically, he looks like a replacement of a quarterback. And you and I were in awe in looking at those numbers because it really is like, is he worth paying this money to? Because it's a lot of money. $275 million over 5 years, $55 million a year, $200 million guaranteed. Like, that's a staggering sum to talk about for a guy who's not separated himself from his competition. I mean, right now, his career win-loss record is 20-30. 20-30 is his career win-loss record in the NFL. That's nothing to be proud of.
No, not at all.
But the statement that you made that I think is something that's super important that cannot be dismissed, and that is he was drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars. It does not happen overnight to drag doormat on the bingo card.
Dumpster fire.
Organizations out of the depths. It takes time. And in that time, he went from, I don't remember who his first coach was, but then he had Urban Meyer. Maybe Urban Meyer was his first coach.
I think he might have been.
I think he meant who was an absolute joke, a terrible professional coach. And then I don't remember who the guy after that was, but now he's finally got a competent coach who's had success in the league. Peterson, the guy that won the Super Bowl with the Eagles.
With the Eagles, yeah.
So, I mean, like, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. So maybe they're looking at it and saying, hey, we got to pay the guy. We know all the intangible stuff is there. He's a great leader. I mean, this is not stuff I'm reporting. It's just, these are the things I'm telling myself that
you're assuming.
If you're paying this guy $200 million, there has to be some of this stuff with him that you can bank on and lock in and say, all right, this is going to be good for us in the long run. But, dude, that's a lot of money to throw a hope and a prayer.
I don't know why you throw that much. Like, there should be, like, maybe there's some, like, stipulations where, like, your record's got to be so good or you got to go above 500.
There might be some contract outs out there.
Yeah, I'm sure. But, like, just to blindly throw $200 million guaranteed at some for an organization. Like, you're not talking about the Steelers, you're not talking about the Cowboys, you're not talking about the Chiefs right now. These big name organizations that have the backing and the money. You're talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars. Like, a few years ago, they're the cheapest tickets in the country to go to a game, right?
I mean, I will say this: their owner, Shad Khan, I think is his name, is one of the richest guys in the NFL. Like, he's a rich man. So he's got money to spend.
Yeah, but you got to make money to spend money.
And you got to continue to make money with that team.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I guess for me, I'm looking at it and saying if that was my team, obviously I'd be following them a lot closer and I'd know whether or not spending the money was. And I'll say this as a fan of the Arizona Cardinals and as a person who wants to believe in Kyler Murray, when they gave Kyler that contract, there was a lot of, well, I really hope we did not totally screw ourselves up, salary cap wise on this guy, because that could have the chance to screw your organization when you spend that much money on one player.
Bro, can you imagine? Okay, I just did the math. $55 million a year.
Oh, dude, don't get me sad about
divided by 18 games.
Yeah.
Right? It's a new season. I think they do 18 now, right?
Yeah.
Every week of the season, bro. You know how much your check is after the game's over, whether you win or lose? Do you know how much you're getting in a check?
Nearly $3 million.
$3 million.
$3 million.
Just 3.05.
Yeah.
Holy crap, dude. Yeah. Like,
that's how much money I hope to make in my lifetime.
Right, like, you're like, oh my gosh, dude. Like, how?
Dude, it's staggering. And you know what's crazy? This is what's truly crazy, dude. Did you see when Christian McCaffrey got his extension? It was like, I think it's 2 years. It's essentially, I think, almost $19 million a year. I think it was 2 years and $38 million was his contract extension for the best overall offensive player in the NFL, right?
For sure.
Nobody would question. Well, maybe somebody would debate
try to argue,
but he's in the conversation for the best overall offensive player in the NFL. 2 years, $38 million. And somebody made the comment, bro, my kid ain't, what was it? My kid is not risking the NFL for Tim Hardaway Jr. money. A guy that rides the bench for the Dallas Mavericks. That's how much the difference in money is in the NFL and in the NBA. The highest paid player right now, I think, is Trevor Lawrence at $55 a year, right? He is right there with like 15 other NBA players.
Which is weird.
Yeah.
I didn't even that's so weird to even think.
And what's crazy also about the NBA has a slotted max system where you can't, in the NFL, listen, if you want to absolutely max out your salary cap and pay all the money to one guy and fill in the rest of it with minimums, you can. You can do that in the NBA. In the NFL. In the NBA, you can't. Because if you were to try and pay somebody truly market value, regardless of what your salary cap, let's say you have a market cap of $100 million, okay? We're just using round numbers here. $100 million is the most you can spend for your entire team's roster, okay? And you got to get 14 guys on that roster, okay? Yeah. So if you were to say, well, market value says Nikola Jokic, best player in the NBA right now, he's the best guy. We'll pay you $86 million and we'll fill in the rest with $1 million guys, right? Or $87 million, the rest of them with $1 million guys. Can't do that because they have a slotted max system to where you can say, we will offer you a maximum contract. And the maximum contract means you're probably around $50 million. And if you get added to an all-NBA team, that 50 can then become like 55 or 58.
Really?
But it all depends on your performance. But it's a max system. So it's like in the NFL, that doesn't exist. You just pay the guy what you think they're worth, right? So it's like it's different in the way that these things go. But in the NBA, you make so much more money if you're a top player.
That's insane.
Yeah. I mean, dude, Jason Tatum and
the amount of people is way less.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, you're talking about a 53-man roster versus a 14-man roster. I mean, it is different. But now.
And the same amount of teams.
Yeah. No, less. There's less teams in the NBA.
Okay, so even worse.
Yeah, there's 30 teams in the NBA, 32 in the NFL. Yeah, okay. But in the NBA, it's almost like baseball now, where every NBA team has a G League team. So there's another roster that they're paying.
Wonder what they make.
Not much. I mean, they make enough for guys that were drafted 10 years ago to keep playing in the G League because it's, monetarily worth it. But we're not talking like, I wonder if they make league minimum. Are you looking it up right now?
Yeah, it says G League players make a minimum $40,000 for 50 regular games.
Oh, there's no way that's
40,500. Right. Some players may make more depending on their standing with the NBA squads. but
yeah, okay, all right. Well, I could buy that. 40,000 basically that's the
standard for 22-23 season.
Okay, that's like the standard for like a minor league baseball player. That's basically minimum
wage.
Players
with two-way contracts can earn a lot more from 125 to 500K.
Okay, that's
I don't know what that means.
A two-way contract basically meaning we have you on a contract to play on both the NBA roster and the G League roster if we so need you. And you have so many days you can spend on an NBA roster before they sign you for the rest of the year.
That's crazy.
Yeah, dude, that is nuts. Okay, so basically what we're saying is really hope that Trevor Lawrence is it because they tied their wagon to that guy.
They big time hooked their wagon up to that dude.
They tied
and they filled it full of gold, bro, and just said, "Let's go."
So I don't know. I will say this: in his time in the NFL, I'm not convinced. I remember in college thinking there's few times where I've watched a college football quarterback and felt like that was there's a can't miss prospect. That guy's 100% going to succeed in the NFL. It was Andrew Luck and it was Trevor Lawrence.
Andrew Luck was so good.
He was so good.
So good.
And even when he was in the NFL.
He just concussions. I think he chose health.
Yeah.
I mean, good for him.
Yeah.
He chose his brain over, money, and he probably made enough money with the whole thing where he'd probably be fine.
And I'll say this, Jim Irsay, you can say what you want about the dude, but when Andrew Luck decided to retire with still like $100 million left on his contract, Irsay said you don't have to pay it back. Dude, didn't make him give it back.
And dude, Andrew Luck was. I mean, and I'm sure he's from Stanford. I'm sure he's super intelligent. I'm sure he's probably already got another business or something going on.
In fact, right? I read this article, really, really in-depth interview article with him. I think it was within the last year, maybe a year and a half. He went back to Stanford for a graduate degree because why not?
Yeah, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah,
sitting at home doing nothing.
He honestly didn't know what else to do. Like he really didn't know what else to do. So I guess I'll go back.
So good, man. Because he was intelligent. His football intelligence and his life intelligence were just huge.
And dude, physically, the guy was every single quarterback gift you could want for the guy. Size, speed, arm. Like he had every single quality you wanted to see in a top tier quarterback.
Just couldn't
stay healthy.
He could not stick if he took a hit. He could not take a hit for nothing.
Which is crazy for a guy his size. You think the guy would, and also because he delivered hits. You remember some of those clips of him in college?
Yeah.
If he ever got picked off. That guy that picked it off better hope Andrew Luck is not the one that's going to cackle him because he would get owned. But I would say Andrew Luck and Trevor Lawrence, and there might be another one that I'm not thinking of. But so far, I was wrong about Trevor
I think
Lawrence.
A lot of people thought that way about Matt Leinart back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
But he kind of failed.
I will say this. I didn't think that with Matt Leinart because at that time, I kind of felt like, well, he's also playing with an NFL roster now.
Yeah.
In college, exactly. I mean, the guys he was throwing the ball to, and
people thought that way about Vince Young.
Yeah,
they were hook, line, and sinker into Vince Young.
Yeah, especially after that national championship game.
The way he played, that was one of the greatest national championship games in a long time. But they fall through. Because that's a position that's super hard.
It's impossible,
dude. The great ones, the ones that are really good, that even you can look at guys like Tony Romo, right? Like he statistically really good NFL quarterback.
Good quarterback who came from nowhere.
Came from Miami, Ohio.
Yes.
Is where he played at. That's crazy, right? Like you talk about these little schools, so it doesn't have to be somebody like these big shot schools. I mean, think of a big shot name right now that's Patrick Mahomes. He played at Texas A&M, if I remember correctly, right?
Texas Tech,
sorry.
With Cliff Kingsbury.
Yes, right? So he played there, so it's a big school. Who's a big name quarterback right now that's killing it? That's everybody thought was going to be good.
So that is okay. So I just want to say what quarterbacks have been selected in the first round over the last 10 years, just to show how difficult it is to pick this stuff. Because if we were to go through it, okay, over the last 10 years, here are the quarterbacks selected in the first round, and this was from 2013 to 2022, so not including the last 2 years. Okay,
good, because this one had 15 of it.
Yeah, I know. Who knows? And it's also because the last 2 years, how do you even judge those guys? We don't know who they're going to be, right? Okay, so number one, Jared Goff in 2016, number one overall draft pick. Okay, would you say he's turned out? I think so.
Yeah, he's done. I mean, he's performed. I mean, he taken a Detroit Lions team. That coach has done a lot with him, and I think
he took the Rams to the Super Bowl.
He did, and I think that, dude. I think the Lions are going to be tough.
I think so too.
They are coming for blood. They got a taste of winning in the playoffs, and I think they're coming.
I'm with you on that one. Next, here's one thing though. Would you say Jared Goff was number one overall draft pick?
Turned out, play at?
He played at Cal.
I mean, he did take his first team to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but he's also a team that they shipped out to get his replacement in, Matthew Stafford.
And then they won a
Super Bowl. I would say he's turned out for a guy that maybe you say, we picked this guy late first round.
Pick? No, I think no turnout.
Number 1 overall pick, I would not say turned out that level, but he didn't fail in the league.
No.
He's still a contributing quality quarterback,
Right.
okay? Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, all-timer, right?
I
think he was the 13th pick in his draft.
Okay.
13th overall pick, okay? Deshaun Watson. Well, there's a story there for Deshaun Watson. Also 2017.
One of the highest paid quarterbacks currently.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stories there about him.
A lot of stories. I don't know if he's panned out.
No, I would say he has not.
No.
Not for the money he has made. I would say he's been a colossal failure in that.
And they keep paying him.
What's crazy, though, is he was good with the Texans.
I was going to say, he was actually okay with the Texans. Like, he played really well, throwing the ball to D-Hop. Dude, like, he was playing well.
100%. And
then Cleveland.
Then, number 4, number 1 overall draft pick, Baker Mayfield.
He's making a comeback. I don't think he's been he's not
Not
lived up to the number one
pick.
overall, but I think he's...
We've talked about Baker quite a bit.
Yeah, we've talked about him, and he's doing good in his career. I think he's making a comeback.
In the same draft, I think this guy was 7th overall, Josh Allen. He's turned out. 100% turned out.
Absolutely.
Could not say he did not. No. Now he hasn't got to the Super Bowl, but his team has been competitive every year he's been there.
Yeah, and he's just because he's going up against one of the best we've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
In the AFC Championship every time.
Yep. We talked about that. It's like the guys that win against Michael Jordan. It's the guys that win against Tom Brady. It's like, listen, what can you say? Wrong era.
You're trying. Dude. Josh Allen will get his Super Bowl. He is the Peyton Manning for Tom Brady. That's what he is. He is Patrick Mahomes' Peyton Manning.
That's a good comp.
It is what it is.
So then we have in that same draft, which they didn't even mention this. They didn't even have Josh Rosen on this list.
Oh,
he was in that same draft as those guys. Obviously, he's gone. He was a 10th overall draft pick. He didn't even pan out. He's not in the league anymore. Okay, Lamar Jackson in 2018 definitely pulled out.
Yep.
Yeah, he's definitely turned out. And the last pick in the first round. So, Ravens, good on you.
Yeah, well done.
Okay. And then Kyler Murray.
I'm saying no. I didn't think he was a first-round pick, to be honest, just because he's too short.
That was a tricky draft. That was a tricky year to have the number 1 overall draft pick. I'll say this, because it was him or it was, and I'm forgetting his name now, and I hate it when I do that. His brother's also with the Chargers. He's a defensive end for the 49ers. He was opposite... Oh, my gosh. He's a great player. Defensive player of the year level stuff. Joey Bosa.
Yeah.
Joey Bosa. So it was him or Kyler Murray.
That's right. I'd pick Bosa all day long.
But the problem is he was coming off an ACL. And Nick Bosa, his brother, constantly hurt.
Yeah, but dude, Kyler Murray...
Or is it Nick Bosa that got drafted? I can't remember which one, Joey and Nick.
I don't know. I've never been a believer in Kyler Murray.
And you're not alone. You're not alone.
It's just hard.
We've been to the playoffs one time with him. And he has torn an ACL.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is that was a tough time to have number 1 overall pick. So you say not turned out. I'm saying jury's out. But what that means is if you can't definitively say 5 years later, then you don't know what you have.
5 years.
5 years. Okay. And in that that was just that year. Kyler was really the only guy picking that one. Somebody else maybe later. And then Joe Burrow, that's worked out.
Baller.
That's worked out.
One of my favorite players. I don't know what it is about him. I just like the way he plays.
It's because of Joe Cool, man.
It is. I think it is the way he just like carries himself, and he
never looks rattled.
Every year he starts out terrible.
It's like that thing I read you the timeline in week 5, the end of the mandatory timeline, in which Joe Burrow looks terrible.
Yes, and then all of a sudden, boom.
Yeah.
I'm a big time believer.
Tua, who knows what Tua's? I'm not going to say Tua's turned out.
I'm not going to say so either. He's dude. I don't know the Dolphins, but the thing is with Tua is he has legitimate weapons at his disposal and not 1, not 2, but 3 guys where you're just like, bro, you've got a running back that's out of control and you've got 2 of the fastest guys in the NFL on your team.
And a coach who is really cool right now.
Yeah.
Like, he's really looking like he's going to be the right guy.
Yeah, so I'm like, give him his flowers. He's killing it, but it's like, dude,
he also got killed in the playoffs.
Yeah, so... And, he's taking concussion protocol. I think that's going to rattle him for a little bit.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be afraid to get hit.
I think he's one of those guys where I'm going to say he's in the Kyler camp to me.
Yeah, I would agree.
He's shown some flashes, hasn't sustained much.
No.
Okay. And then Justin Herbert, who everybody will say is a lock for the Hall of Fame, and he's done nothing.
He's done nothing.
He's done nothing. So, I mean, whatever about him.
Phillip Rivers, bro.
Yeah, on the perfect team, Phillip Rivers, a guy that puts up numbers with no wins.
Great fantasy football quarterback.
Absolutely. So Justin Herbert, Jordan Love, and then Trevor Lawrence.
Jordan Love's come out last year. I mean, But he mentored, right? Like he did great. We've talked about this.
The way they developed Jordan Love, that
you can't beat that.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go. And it's funny just because of like the list of these others unsuccessful picks they have on this list here. EJ, do you remember EJ Manuel?
Yeah,
where played for the Bills.
Yeah,
got drafted to the Bills. Yeah. He was with Florida State, I think, is where he was at.
I remember that name.
Blake Bortles, we talked about him. Johnny Manziel.
Oh yeah, J Money.
Did you
ever watch that documentary on him?
No, I didn't, because it was one of those things where if they're interviewing him, I don't want any part of it.
Yeah, but it's interesting how much crap that they. I mean, what's real and what's not, you don't know. But you kind of like that's about him going and partying in Vegas with money and. He'd walk into a hotel room and there would just be memorabilia for him to sign. He'd sign everything before they could do this, right?
Yeah.
And there'd be like $100,000 underneath the bed in a briefcase. So he'd sign everything, take his money and be out. And they would just live it up in Vegas for the weekend. Yeah, dude, crazy.
That guy, like, there's so many cautionary tales with Johnny Manziel. Mm-hmm. And almost everything you don't want your athlete to do is what he did.
He did.
Yeah. Anyway. So I'm not going to go down that whole list. Oh, no, Josh Rosen is on the list of the unsuccessful picks. This guy, so the list that I went are apparently the successful picks. That's funny because we were pretty, and we weren't really concerned or like sold on a few of those, like Tua, Trevor Lawrence, and you can't call Jordan Love a successful pick yet.
Yeah,
he had 1 year.
Yeah,
that's jumping the gun there. Oh well, it doesn't matter. The point we're trying to make is picking a quarterback in the draft is very hard to do.
It's very difficult.
Even when you have a guy that you think is a can't-miss prospect, you can miss many times.
The Jaguars have found something. Is it worth $200 million? Time will tell.
We'll find out, dog.
We'll find out.
You got a house that needs to get painted. You got some scratches in the walls. Maybe the exterior paint's a little bit faded because of our awesome sun here in Arizona. Well, I have got a fantastic suggestion for you. What you need to do is you need to reach out to Kellen Brady at Brady Painting Services. I'm telling you right now, they are top-notch, first class. They get the job done right at a great price. Kellen is just the best when it comes to his customer service, his communication, his professionalism. And the best part about it, let's say if you're getting ready to sell your house because you're moving on to bigger and better things, Kellen Brady will not only paint your home at cost, but he will also sell your home because he also is a licensed realtor in the Arizona state. So what you need to do is you need to reach out to Kellen Brady at Brady Painting Services. Phone number is 480-310-1767 or email them at bradypaintingservices@gmail.com. That's all one word, no numbers, no spaces, no hyphens. Brady Painting Services @gmail.com. And once again, that phone number is 480-310-1767. I'm telling you right now, Kellen will take great care of you. Brady Painting Services. All right, so a couple other things that I just wanted to talk about. We know that the NBA draft is this year, or this week, excuse me.
Yeah.
And it's funny. For an NBA draft, there's only one name that anybody can mention, and this guy is a guy that, if he's drafted, should be a late second round, take a flyer on the guy, see if he turns out guy.
Not a first-round pick.
Not a first-round draft
pick. First overall pick.
No, he's not going to be the first overall. If he goes from one overall, dude, that would be truly
but
insane.
Dude, the whole premise is they think they're going to get daddy with him.
Okay, and having said that, now you all know who we're talking about. Yeah. It's Bronny James.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know it. That's the only reason you would take him number one, is hoping that daddy follows him.
So this past week, there's been a lot of reporting that has come out of the LeBron James camp and Bronny James camp, who have the same agent, obviously.
Go figure.
And that is, that ship has sailed. That dream is gone. That LeBron doesn't necessarily have to play with his son. And I think this comes from two things. One, I'm pretty sure his son is saying, listen, Dad, you're killing me, man. You're killing me by putting this expectation on me, because no matter where I do get drafted now, it is 100% going to be a negative on me, because they're thinking the only reason why I'm here is because of nepotism. That's it. Now, let's be real. That's probably 90% of the reason he's going to end up in the league anyway. But it would be even worse if it was draft my son and I'll come play for you, right? So Rich Paul says no chance. LeBron James is not signing a minimum contract anywhere. It's not happening, which is what I told you. There's no way LeBron was going to come to the Suns on a minimum deal. Never going to happen, right? But I think the reason why a team might take him is not because they think they're going to get LeBron James now, is they're looking at it and saying they get a guy with crazy athleticism who's very young, who comes from a great basketball pedigree. Maybe this guy turns out. And I'm saying that very cautiously because when he went to USC, if you remember, he had that cardiac arrest.
Right.
And so he wasn't able to come, full throttle to USC in that college season because they had to bring him along slowly because of the cardiac arrest. That's a serious thing to consider,
Which
right?
is even more of a reason not to draft him.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying he can't show up. Like I think he's trying to make it. I know he's talked a bunch about trying to, carve his own path and blah 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 blah. And I respect that. I get it. But I don't know, dude. Like he's a 6'2",
6'1.5",
6'1.5" guard, and I'm like, and I don't know, dude. Steve Nash was taller. You know what I'm saying? Like
Chris Paul's not,
but Chris Paul's.
I mean, if we're talking Hall of Famers,
I know, but it's just, I don't know that he's worth the risk. Now, I think you pick him up undrafted. He comes out, tries out, makes your G League team, works his way up, says, hey, we're going to bring you on. You become a star. Cool, right? 4 or 5 years from now, he's balling out. He's young. Great.
I would tell you this, man.
You don't waste a pick, though.
If I had one of the first 5 picks in the second round and he's still there, I would 100% take him.
That's the second round, right?
Exactly. That's the second round.
That's fine. But the first round, you get the first 10 picks of the... Dude, I'm not even looking. He's even on the radar, bro.
He's not on mine. And I'll say this, if there's talk about him being on the radar at 22 for the Suns, I question, as I have questioned, the ability for those guys to evaluate talent. Now, I'm not saying that Bronny's not going to be good. He very well could be. Because, again, I can talk myself into thinking the future is there for him because he's already got the athleticism. And if you're talking about an NBA guard, he's got an NBA guard body. He doesn't have a forward body like his dad,
right?
But he's got an NBA guard body, and if he can play, tenacious defense while he learns how to run an offense as a point guard, then cool. I'm watching that guy play on a G League team, right? I'm drafting and stashing that guy. 100% going to
develop him for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But apparently, as Rich Paul, yes, there's always a but. Apparently, his agent Rich Paul says he's not going to be doing a 2-way contract. So that.
Dude, okay, first off, if that's my agent, I'm like, bro,
fired.
Shut up.
Yeah,
like,
fired.
Don't be telling what I am and not doing. You're not, like, yeah, I would. I want to play in the NBA, and if that's the way I'm going to do it, that's what I'll have to do.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to the Lakers. I'm not going to go play with Dad. Guess what? I'm going to go to a G League team. I'm fine with that. They'll pull me up when they need me, and I let me earn my keep. Mm-hmm. I bet you he'd get more respect that way.
No, 100%
from the
agree
league.
With you.
You know what I mean?
Now, I understand what his agent's doing. His agent's trying to get the most he possibly can for his client. That's his job.
Yeah, because he gets paid more.
Exactly, because that's his job. That's how he makes the money.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, dude, I feel like you're really doing a disservice to Bronny in the public's eye. Because it's not him saying these things. And if you're his agent saying it, it's as good as him saying it. And it's just detrimental and dangerous. And I think it's going to be hard for Bronny to live up to any of what they're being talked about needs to be done. I just think it's really difficult.
I don't think I've ever watched an NBA draft, but it might be worth watching the first, round.
Dude, I watched the first round. I do. And it's not something that I sit down with, a bucket of popcorn and a drink and watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's on the TV while I'm cooking. And it's on TV all night because it's a whole night thing, right? But I'll be interested to see what happens because it's important for the Suns. Super important to get something that's actually workable at number 22. And that's a hard thing to project.
I have no idea.
There's lots of players that come in the 20s.
In college.
There's lots of players that get picked in the 20s that play meaningful minutes in the NBA. It's really hard to find one every time. It's super
We need a
hard.
point guard.
Yeah, we do. We need a point guard, we need a backup center, and we need an athletic wing. So, in other words, we need anything to help our team. But I would say that you're probably right about number 1 overall need. Probably
we
number
need
1 overall need.
We need a floor general.
Okay. Question for you, dude. And do you want to get into this now, or do we want to do this later?
Which one?
Right here.
No, I don't care.
You don't want to do it now?
It doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
That can be the last one. We can end with that. It's getting late.
Yeah,
Tired.
that's what I'm saying. Do you want to get into it or not? Okay, we'll get into this and we'll do the other stuff later.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you feel about this is a very controversial subject, probably as controversial as we're going to get. How do you feel about blackface?
Listen.
His face.
Let's put it in context of what you were talking about.
Okay.
Because I think that's relevant for anybody listening.
Super, super relevant.
Because we're not talking about a Halloween party.
No,
right?
No.
From back in the 80s, which is a whole nother freaking conversation.
Right. what this is about is there was a group of fans of the Dutch soccer team, the Netherlands, right, that had dressed up in blackface with Rastafarian wigs, dreadlocks, to portray a guy. Now, I'm guessing at the pronunciation of this guy's name. I really don't know, okay? He is a previous player for the Dutch national team called, I'm going to guess, Ruud, R-U-U-D, Gullit, Gullit. No idea how to pronounce that.
Right, okay.
So he is nationally born in the Netherlands. His dad is from Suriname, Suriname, in South America. It's right next to Venezuela, okay? So the guess, it's probably a very strong thing to understand that he's probably of African descent. That was where a lot of slaves got shipped back in the day, okay? So pretty good assumption there. So he looks like, he looks like he could be. Looks to be like he could be an African descent. These guys dress up.
Okay, so he looks like he could be a black guy.
Yeah.
Okay. So there we are.
Yeah. I took a long way to say that.
Yeah.
I was trying to get it all right,
trying to be
dude.
politically correct, but listen, at the end of the day, white is it is what it is. Like, so he looks like he could be a black guy.
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
Okay.
And that's the way that these obviously white fans dressed up, right?
Okay.
And somebody took some offense to it because that's what we do now.
Somebody American.
Actually, it was UK, remember?
Really?
ESPN UK is when the reported this.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But it's something that we got offended over. Somebody got offended over because that's what we do now. We get offended about everything. And then a current player for the Dutch national team, who's also of African descent. This guy is actually from the Ivory Coast, okay? And his name's Nathan, and I don't know how to pronounce his last name. It's A-K-E with one of those little dashes over the E, so Ake, I guess. There you go. And they asked him, it's like, so what do you think about this? And as I pull up his direct quote, I'm going to ask you to tell you what you think he said about this.
He probably thought it was no big deal. Because I feel like, listen, the UK is slowly coming up right on us, right, when it comes to some of this stuff. But I feel like it's so thought. Like, the idea is not anything to do with disgracing him or doing talking about slavery and all this kind of stuff, right? It's literally like they're dressing like a player that they like. What if he was a white guy with red hair and they put on a red wig? Would everybody be mad about him dressing like a ginger?
Nobody would say a thing.
Exactly.
Nobody would say a thing.
It's the same across the whole thing for me. Like, it doesn't compute that this is a racial issue. It's not. It's not like they're out doing something, causing some kind of issue, then saying it's them being this blackface or whatever. They're literally doing it as like an honoring this guy because they want, hey, we're channeling this dude, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's sports. Oh, it makes me so mad that we've got into this.
So this is Nathan. Okay, this is his exact statement. These topics are getting out of hand. We should be allowing things like this to happen. Ruud Gullit already said he finds it an honor too. Let's stop making a problem out of things like this.
But that's what the media does with everything. That's what they try to do. It's all about divide, right?
And see, but the thing that I want to highlight there is the fact that he said, why are we making a big deal out of this? These guys are obviously fans of this guy.
Yeah.
They are obviously honoring this guy.
And again, if it was a blonde girl and it was these guys wearing a blonde wig, nobody would say anything.
Nobody would say a thing.
Or if they're, hey, Chris, I'm trying to think. I don't even David Beckham type back in the day, right? However, he was. Maybe they wanted to look like it. They cut their hair to look like him and dyed it blonde or whatever.
And all they would do is like, oh man, look at their David Beckham
look, there are
fans.
a bunch of twins out there. It's all these guys are trying to do. Like, it's not a big deal, but yet here we are interjecting our own thoughts into it and trying to cause a problem. And it's like,
did you watch that clip that I sent you on YouTube about the lady that shows up to the taco truck and is forced?
No, we talked about this last episode.
Yeah, but I sent you the clip. I texted it to you. You never watched it? You got to watch it, dude. You're going to love it.
Did you text it? I don't think you did.
I did. I promise you I did. I'll send it again. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is you're 100% right. It is somebody else forcing their guilt on it.
Here's the thing. Is the reporter who asked the question white?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know.
I'll bet you, dude, 99% of me says, I mean, she's white. He or she is white.
I thought he said she.
Well, he or she.
Right.
They, them, whatever. They're white. It's like we are causing our own problems. Like, why do we interject ourselves into this? Like, listen, if he had a problem with it, he has every right to say something.
Yeah.
He clearly doesn't. So stop making him feel like he needs to have a problem with it.
Now, so this goes along with the same question I had when I actually put like a slash in this. I said, acting / blackface. Now, if you're doing blackface to be mean, that's obviously a terrible thing.
I don't even understand the mean part. Like, I don't know why anyone would do that to be mean, right? Like, I don't understand how it would be, like, I don't know. For me,
so the whole origin of it is a guy that would dress up as a black man and act like a buffoon and a fool and an idiot.
See, like,
to portray this is the way all black people are.
Like,
right?
in what context though? Like, why would they do that? I don't understand why. Like, how
this
would it
like
happen?
this is like post-slavery World War, like Civil War stuff.
So
right?
like,
so we're going way back.
See, I've always wondered why this is a thing. Like, because like. I know that everybody now, it didn't matter, like in the 80s when this was okay, right? If you dressed in a blackface and at some Halloween party,
bro,
they're bringing it up now.
Yeah, it was okay when Robert Downey Jr. did it for an awesome movie,
gosh.
Tropic Thunder, and he played an amazing role.
He still has not caught crap for that.
He shouldn't.
No, absolutely,
he shouldn't.
But in today's culture, you would think that he would be the first one because, dude, he does phenomenal.
It's so funny. It's so funny. But as I say, and I put the actor in there, kind of going down the Robert Downey Jr. ring. And also, have you heard about this whole thing now where, like gay actors and actresses are saying straight actors cannot play our roles.
Oh,
you need to hold those roles
dude.
For gay actors and actresses.
I can't handle it anymore.
One thing is like, listen, what is the name of your profession? It is acting. Right? I can just see myself right now with a SpongeBob rainbow thing where he does where you got his hands spread apart in the ring. Acting. Yeah. You are literally acting other than yourself. Right?
Oh my God.
And it should not be. Listen, Robert Downey Jr. as a white man got cast as a white man turning into a black man for a movie. It's funny. It's a funny movie. Okay, and it would be
Tropical Thunder for anybody not know what
Tropic
we're talking
Thunder.
about.
Tropic Thunder. And I'll tell you this, some of my favorite bits on the Chappelle Show is when Dave Chappelle puts on whiteface in a white wig and acts as if a white man. It is hysterical to me.
Which is okay.
It's totally fine. Nobody has a problem with that. But the point I'm trying to make is we don't have an issue the other way around, and we shouldn't because it's funny. It's acting. It's literally pretending to be something different.
Yeah, it's acting.
How many times can you think of, going back to the whole gay actor and actress thing, where you find out that the actor who's been playing a straight person the entire time is actually gay? Does it ever bother you?
No, and in fact, I can think of one right now who is gay, and he plays the best womanizer I've ever seen. Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah, I was going to say, you were talking about How I Met Your Mother.
Dude, Barney, if you wouldn't have known, you would never guess that Neil Patrick Harris is gay. But, dude, he does phenomenal, and nobody's mad about it.
Who has a problem with it?
No, he does so good. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because guess what he's doing? Again, SpongeBob. He's acting.
He does phenomenal at acting at that.
Dude, it's just one of those things where it's just the whole...
He's legend. Wait for it. Dairy.
I never even watched the show and I know that line.
You don't even... Dude, you've never
Chalet
seen the
loved
show.
that show. I've stepped in and walked in on parts.
Let's go. We should turn it on right now.
Hey, you remember what I told you, my thing about sitcoms?
Yeah, because the live audience.
The live audience is weird to me. I don't like it. Not to say that there aren't funny bits. There totally are. But it just turns me off almost immediately.
I know, but dude, it is. They do that show so. You know why I liked it? Because from start to finish, it ends well.
Okay, good.
They tie it all together. They end it well. It's for me. I'm like, okay, you know what? There was never a part where like
they never had a friends meet in the middle where Joey and I can't whatever her name is. Why can't I think of Jennifer Aniston's character's name? Rachel. Where Joey and Rachel start to date. We're like, nobody believes this.
No, they didn't have any. Like, it was just like well done, the whole thing, and then they tie it all back together, and it's all has to do with this one. Dude, it's. I want to watch it again. I've seen it all the way through.
I'll tell you. You know what? I may give it a shot. I may give it a shot because there are certain
you would love Marshall. You would love Marshall, dude.
It's funny you say that because he's the part. He is the guy. When I walked in, I'm like, I like this character.
You would like Marshall.
Me
Marshall's freaking funny, dude.
Yeah, that's. But anyway, the whole point I'm trying to make is nobody has a problem with Neil Patrick Harris. Nobody's got a problem with it. Nobody's got a problem with that.
I just can't believe that they're making a thing out of it that you should reserve. Like, so you're saying like in Brokeback Mountain, right? Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal. Now they're saying you can't have that role.
They're not allowed to do that. That needs to be
crap,
two gay guys.
Dude. That is so crap.
It is because again, acting. Right?
Okay, so no, I'm not gonna do it. No, I'm not gonna bring it up. I'm not gonna bring it up. Okay. I'll talk to you about that offline.
I was gonna say I want to hear what you have to say.
Offline, I want to see, but it just makes this kind of crap just makes me so.
It goes to me again, going all the way back to those guys in the stands of a Dutch soccer game that are clearly huge fans of. Again, sorry for knowing how to say your name, Ruud Gullit.
Yeah,
Guyet. I don't know what it is. Huge fans of him. How are they not? I mean, if they wore his jersey and put the wigs on, no big deal.
That's what they did. They were wearing jerseys. It looked like they were
wearing his jerseys, wigs, and all they did was make their faces. Okay. They probably put self-tanner on their face.
Seriously, it's not even that. Like, what would they have done if it was Halloween? Like, and let's say you want to be Christian Ronaldinho.
Yeah.
And whatever his name is, right? And you're like, okay, you're going to get mad about it? No.
If I'm going to put his jersey on, that's all?
Yeah, like, I can't be a white guy wearing his jersey. It doesn't work.
No, couldn't
like,
be. But if it's the other way around, right?
Okay.
Let's say we get some African Canadian, huge fan of Steve Nash. Would we have any issue at all if he pulled the Dave Chappelle route?
No.
No. In fact, we think it's awesome.
Yeah, like good. It's fine.
It's great.
It's acting. Like it's not a big. No, again, these are just people going to sporting events. They're enjoying it. They're not doing something to discredit, disharm, or harm or something like that. They're just being people. Now, if these three idiots were out doing something stupid, dressed like that, they deserve all that crap, right?
Yeah.
I get that. But again, here we are, just trying to poke at it.
Yep.
Anything has to do. If we can push racial issues in any of these big countries right now,
we'll 100% find a way.
Absolutely, and it's gross.
It is. It's very frustrating because it does make it to where you're like, dude, just let people be fans. It's just let people be fans.
It makes me sick.
It's funny. I was just talking about this with somebody else when it comes to just being fans, and we were trying to say like, how do you have a rational conversation as a fan? It's like you don't. No matter what anybody tells me, Kobe Bryant's the worst person in the world. Like, I'll never believe otherwise. He's like, because I am a fan of the Suns, and Kobe Bryant and Tim Duncan can rot.
I mean, I'm not gonna argue. Like,
anyway, all right. Well, hey, you know what? This is always fun. It's funny how often we can come to this without much of an agenda. We did hit the agenda points, except for one. We didn't get to one. We hit them, but we still filled up all the time.
No, it works for me. I think it turned out well.
I totally agree. All right. Well, you got anything else you wanted to say before we lock this up and you hit up a crazy early tea time?
Oh, I know, 5:32 a.m.
Dude, that's 8 hours from now.
Let's go. That's fine. Who sleeps 8 hours? Like, can we talk about that? Like,
I really try to.
I try. Dude, there's no way, bro. Like, I feel like...
I've never been able to do it. Well, I shouldn't say never. I rarely ever am able to do it, but I really try.
I get up so much, it's never consistent. Even if I was in bed for 8 hours, I'm definitely not sleeping for 8 hours.
Yeah. Hey, bro, you might have sleep apnea.
No. I don't snore or anything crazy like that. Like,
you still might have sleep apnea.
Maybe. A lot of it has to do with the prep stuff. Like,
dude, okay.
I get up to pee 4 or 5 times a night. No problem.
Well, if you're drinking 2 gallons of liquids.
Yeah, bro. Like, it's like, and I'm not just like peeing. Like, it's like, oh my gosh, my legs hurt from standing here. How can I have this much fluid left in me, dude? It does. It sucks. So there is that. But yeah, I would love to sleep. I would love to sleep for like 12 hours uninterrupted. Don't wake up. I feel like I would feel so rejuvenated, but that don't happen.
It's hard to understand or even comprehend what that might feel like.
You know what? I think I'd feel like crap.
Yeah.
I think I would feel worse. Like, I think as much as I want, I think, when you get sick and you lay in bed for like 3 days, I need one of those without the sick.
Yes.
But I don't, but it's just,
but you don't feel good either.
No. And you're like, dude, oh man, but it would be great to sleep just uninterrupted.
What it is for me, and it doesn't matter the time, it would be great just to be able to fall asleep and wake up and feel amazing.
Like wake up rejuvenated.
Yeah, feel like, hey, I got the rest I needed. However long that is.
Yeah.
I don't know what that number is. Could be 6 hours for all I know. Just have that feeling. That would be great.
The problem is as a father, a provider, and all that, you're even when you're sleeping, you're not really sleeping. Your mind never stops, right? Because and then if something goes bump in the night, you're going to check it out, right? I'm like, wait, it's funny. I just had a conversation with I have a buddy who's married to another cop. So he's a cop. He's married to a cop. What happens if something goes bump in the night? Like,
do they both pop up out of bed?
Yeah, do you go too? Or if she's a cop and the husband's a firefighter, who goes and checks the noise? I always love poking at him. It's funny because I have that too. I'm like, because one of my real good friends is a firefighter, and he married she's a probation officer, but she's sworn.
Yeah.
So she's a cop, and she carries a gun. And I'm always like, hey, bro, did your wife go check what goes bump in the night? Or how's that work? And he's always like, no, leave me alone. I'm like, I'm just saying. Like,
just a question, dog.
I know you got a hose. What are you going to do, bro? Like,
spray it.
Yeah. Would you walk in there with your fire extinguisher?
Also, I was going to say, when you say he's got a hose, what kind of euphemism are you talking here, man? What's he swinging?
Just not talk about the fire hose, bro.
I didn't want to get into this, but this is something I'm just going to say real quick. Just when you talked about being a father and provider and all the things on your brain, I remember it was this past week. I woke up in the middle of the night, wide awake, anxious, just super, super anxious over nothing. I could not at all pinpoint what it was. I just was super anxious, and I am not an anxious person. That's not a feeling I'm accustomed to, and I can't really point why. And I remember I was just laying there, like, just totally stressed out about nothing, like nothing in particular.
Do you ever just wake up and think about something, and then you're like, oh, I got to remember this in the morning, but like, it hits you in the middle of the night, and you're like, and you start to stress out about it because it's a work thing or something to do with what you got to do. And you can't forget.
I cannot forget.
And you weren't even thinking about it before you went to bed, but now you're like, oh crap, I got to remember to do that. Like it just hits you, and you're like, okay, now I got to get up, make sure I remember. Isn't that weird?
It is. It is super weird. And the worst part about it is when I wake up, oh crap, what was it I was thinking about last night? What is it that kept me up for 45 minutes? I could not stop thinking about.
Go back to sleep. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird how your brain works.
Dude, I know. And Shalea's going to kill me if I don't finish out the story because she's going to call me total wuss. What it was, and I don't know what it was. I just know that when I heard her moving, I could feel her moving. So I rolled over to cuddle with my wife. All the feeling went away. Whatever it was, went away. And I told her that, and she's like, you little sap. I'm like, I know. I am. I totally am. But it'd be one thing if I knew what it was. I didn't know what it was. It just was like,
oh, Eric,
I felt better.
So cute.
Shut up, man. All right, you cheese bags.
Like fat kids in dodgeball. Eric's out.
I'm not.
The JJ and Pug Show theme song was written, composed, and performed by Lane Hartman. Special thanks to Highland Communities for all the support given to our show. You can find the JJ and Pug Show podcast wherever you do listen to podcasts. Look us up on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Remember to share the show with your friends and family and subscribe wherever you do listen. If you're able to, please feel free to support us by sending a donation to us by going to ko-fi.com/the JJ and Pug Show. That is ko-fi.com/the JJ and Pug Show. Again, thank you so much, everybody, for all the support, whether that is by simply listening, whether that is sharing it with a friend, or giving us that sweet, sweet cash. We truly appreciate it all. Thank you so much.